In a small alley on the outskirts of the city, where houses stood packed tightly together as if clinging to every narrow patch of land, there lived a man named Jake. He worked as a motorbike repairer, running a small shop right in front of his house. The job wasn't too bad, but it was never truly enough. On rainy days, the shop was completely empty. On sunny days, customers came in, but the money he earned had to be divided among all sorts of expenses. Jake had a habit that everyone in the neighborhood knew about. He was very afraid of spending money, not because he was stingy, but because he was afraid of having nothing left. Money has to be kept safe. Jake would often say to his wife, Anna, whenever she suggested buying something, "What if something happens?" Anna didn't argue. She understood his worries. They had a young daughter named Annika. She was in year 3 this year. Thin, but always smiling. One evening, while the family was having dinner, Annika hesitated before speaking. "Dad, my class is going on a trip soon. The teacher said each student needs to pay $150. Jake paused for a moment. $150 wasn't a large amount. But in his mind, a series of other expenses immediately appeared. Electricity bills, gas, next month's rent. "Is it really necessary to go?" Jake asked, his voice gentle, but slightly uncertain. Annika lowered her head and slowly picked at her rice. "Well, everyone else is going." Anna looked at Jake, her eyes a little sad. "Let her go. She's been looking forward to it for days." Jake let out a sigh. "All right, I'll think about it." But "I'll think about it" from Jake usually meant no. That night, Jake lay awake, tossing and turning. He opened a small box hidden under the bed. Inside was the money he had saved over the years. Not a lot, but not too little either. The notes were neatly arranged, as if just looking at them could bring him a sense of reassurance. He touched them, and his heart felt a little lighter. "At least, I still have this," he thought. The next morning, Jake didn't mention the school trip again. Annika didn't ask either. Life went on like that, steady, yet full of struggle. Jake became more and more frugal. He stopped drinking coffee. He didn't buy snacks anymore. He kept wearing an old shirt with a torn shoulder. Even his motorbike, with its broken headlight, remained unfixed. Sometimes Anna would sigh. "Don't you get tired living like this?" Jake gave a faint smile. It's better to be tired than to have no money. But the more he saved, the more anxious he became. Every time a customer paid him, he didn't feel happy. He only thought, save it. Don't spend it. Every time he had to spend money, even just a small amount, he felt uncomfortable. One afternoon, heavy rain poured down. There were no customers. Jake sat watching the water flow past his doorway, his heart feeling heavy. Suddenly, someone called out, "Hey, Jake." It was Tuan, a young man in the neighborhood who worked as a delivery driver. "My bike broke down on the road. Could you come take a look?" Jake put on his raincoat and waited out. After fixing it, Tuan smiled. "Good thing you were there. Otherwise, I would have been late for my delivery." Jake nodded and took the payment. Tuan looked around the shop, then said, "Hey Jake, have you ever thought about expanding your services?" Jake frowned. "What kind of service? Nowadays, a lot of people need on-site repairs. Like me, when the bike breaks down in the middle of a job, it's a real hassle. If you had a compact toolkit and went out to fix bikes on the spot, you'd probably get a lot of customers." Jake immediately shook his head. "No, investing more means spending more money. Tuan smiled. But you could earn more too. Jake didn't reply. In his mind, there was only one thought. It costs money first. A few weeks later, something unexpected happened. Anna came down with a high fever and had to see a doctor. The doctor said she needed additional tests. The cost wasn't too large, but it was enough for Jake to open his savings box. He took out a few bills, his hands trembling slightly. For the first time in many years, that box no longer gave him a sense of security. After paying the hospital fees, the money inside the box had visibly decreased. Jake sat there, staring at it, feeling empty. Why is it I keep saving, but it never feels like enough, he muttered. Anna lay on the bed, weak but still smiling. Don't worry too much. Money is meant to be used. Jake said nothing. One evening, the entire neighborhood lost power. The whole alley was plunged into darkness. People lit candles, and children complained. Jake sat in front of his house, looking across at the house opposite. Mr. Hoa's house, an elderly man who sold drinks at the entrance of the alley, was still lit. Surprised, Jake walked over. Mr. Hoa, how come you still have electricity? Mr. Hoa smiled and pointed to a large lamp placed in the middle of the room. It's a rechargeable lamp. I charge it during the day and use it at night when the power goes out. Jake nodded. That's clever, Mr. Hoa continued. I even rent it out to the neighbors. Every time there's a blackout, I earn a little extra. Jake paused. Rent it out. Yeah. People need light. If I have it, I share, give and take. Jake stood there for a long moment, his mind spinning. For the first time, he began to think, money isn't just for keeping. That night, Jake couldn't sleep. He took out the box of money and opened the lid. The bills were still there, but the feeling was different. Keep holding on to it, and it will still run out, he whispered. The next morning, Jake said to Anna, I want to try something. Anna looked at him, a little surprised. What is it? I want to buy some compact repair tools and start doing on-site repairs. Anna was silent for a moment, then asked, Are you sure? Jake nodded, even though his heart was still trembling. I don't want to just sit and wait anymore. The first few days were difficult. Jake bought a small set of tools and attached it to his motorbike. He printed a few flyers with his phone number and posted them around the neighborhood. On the first day, no one called. On the second day, the same. By the third day, his phone rang. Hello. Do you do on-site repairs? My bike broke down at the end of the street. Jake rushed over. After fixing it, the customer paid him. It wasn't much, but when he held the money, it felt completely different. This wasn't money he had saved. This was money he had just created. Gradually, more customers began to call. Tuan also recommended him to his friends. Jake fixes things really fast. Just call him, and he's there. Annika started helping her father keep records. Dad, how much did we earn today? Jake smiled and gently patted her head. Not much, but more than yesterday. Anna also felt more at ease. I think you're happier now. Jake nodded. I feel that way too. One time, his toolkit broke, and Jake had to spend money to fix it. The old feeling of anxiety came back, but this time, he didn't panic. It's okay. I can earn it back, he told himself. A few months passed. Jake bought another set of tools and hired an assistant. The small repair shop now also offered on-site services in the evenings. The whole family sat together for dinner under steady electric light. Jake had also bought a rechargeable lamp. Annika smiled. Dad, Are we not afraid of power cuts anymore? Jake looked at her. Then at Anna. He smiled. It's not that we're not afraid. It's that we know what to do when it happens. Anna nodded, her eyes warm. One evening, Jake opened the old box again. It was no longer as full as before. But he didn't feel afraid anymore. He took a piece of paper and wrote, "Money is not meant to be hidden. It is meant to help us live better." He placed the note inside the box, then closed it. From that moment on, Jake was no longer obsessed with saving money. He still saved, but not out of fear, but because he understood money only has meaning when it is used the right way. And sometimes, all it takes is one small step, daring to use it to change an entire life.